dealerships. With the annual Pro Farmer Crop Tour, it is now in its third day, and scouts, they continue their journey across the Corn Belt measuring this year's yield potential. Oliver Sloup with Blue Line Futures joins us once again for an update from the road. Oliver, hanging in there. It looks like you got a little sunburn, by the way.
We're getting some good sun out here. Definitely a little farmer's tan going on, but it is well worth it to kind of see what's out there for ourselves. We are in Modesto, Illinois, so we're probably about halfway done through our route today. We've hit about 10 stops, and I would say the word of the day is variability. When you and I spoke yesterday, and I spoke to Tony on Monday, we talked about kind of the ups and downs. Yesterday afternoon specifically was a little bit more consistent on the eastern side of Illinois, where they got pretty good moisture. But as we've worked west through this morning, and really yesterday afternoon, things started to dry out a little bit more, and that's where the variability really came in, from yields at 140 up to 240. A lot of different checks and things going on out there. So it'll be interesting to see what the other scouts see on their ends. But what we've seen so far, variability. Right now, the USDA estimates the Illinois crop at about 221. That is well above still what we're seeing on average today. But again, it's about kind of finding a average of all the routes and their samples and findings as well.
Well, Oliver, it's incredible when you're there, right? And boots on the ground, firsthand views of some of these crops. Are you starting to see maybe the variability coming from some wind damage or storm damage? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, we have. We actually talked to a farmer right out of the gates this morning in Macomb. And he had talked about, he stopped us, asked us what we were doing, and he said, hey, go check out what's out there. But I'm going to warn you, we had a really bad, he called it a mini tornado sweep through here just recently, a couple of days ago. So there was certainly some recent wind damage, and even some, you can obviously tell that there was some wind damage from earlier in the season. So again, that's probably going to have a big impact on things as we get the final numbers later this year from the USDA. Again, variability seems to be a common theme today. We'll see how the rest of the day pans out.
Absolutely. Today, one of the longer days for you guys?
One of the longer days. We're stuck here in Illinois, and I'm happy to do it because this is such an important state, and we want to get more data points that we can get. This is one specific route, and when we go into a field, we're really just selecting 3 samples. So it's a lot of randomness on any given field, but the idea is you throw enough random data out there that it removes some of the randomness and can kind of help give you a real ballpark figure of how things look out there.
Absolutely. Looking at today and what you've seen so far compared to yesterday, you said really difference, of course, region to region. How did yesterday compare? Better numbers?
Yeah, the Indiana came out 193.8 for Pro Farmer. That was up from 187.5 last year. So about 6 bushels better than last year. The margin for error in Indiana historically for Pro Farmer is about 4.5 bushels. So still, you're talking about a big difference from where the USDA is in Indiana at 205. And you and I had touched on this as well yesterday, where there's good corn out there, but the expectations are set so high right now. It's going to be really hard to meet those expectations. And talking with farmers and other scouts out there, they kind of referenced and made the point that maybe that August 1st data that the USDA collected, maybe that was kind of the top in yield, and things are going to work backwards from there.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. That's what we're hearing from a lot of you guys out there on the field. How did things wrap up for you today? For those who may not know, I know you got still a long day ahead of you. What, about another 4 or 5 stops? How do you wrap up today?
Yeah, so we'll be finishing out our routes here in Illinois. The other half of our crew are on a split route. They jumped straight over into Iowa, so they're working there. And then we'll meet this evening in Iowa City or just outside of it for a nightly meeting, and we'll get an update in those final numbers for here in Illinois, which I know everyone's really excited to see. So we still got we've got a lot of work done this morning. We still got a lot to do.
Oliver, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time. Do appreciate you. Oliver Sloup with Blue Line Futures. Again, we thank him for joining us.
Hi, I'm Oliver Sloup, co-founder and vice president of Blue Line Futures. Join me for the 2025 Pro Farmer Crop Tour live from the heart of the Corn Belt. This year's Pro Farmer Crop Tour runs from August 18th to the 21st, and I'll be boots on the ground covering the eastern leg. I'll still be delivering my regular daily grain market commentary, but this time with a twist. Exclusive real-time updates from crop conditions to yield potential. You'll get my first-hand insights straight from the fields. Sign up now for our exclusive content, including on-the-go videos and in-depth findings you won't find anywhere else.